What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show. The Blazers tonight get a home victory against the Toronto Raptors, 118-113. This is the Blazers' sixth straight home win. The home cooking continues, and I was at the game. That's why we're going live late. I also lost my phone, so I'm finally being able to relax after worrying about that and worrying about it being cracked. It's not cracked, by the way. It's all good. That's why you get a tough phone case. And and then driving home, rushing home safely, of course. And now we're live. So this is going to be a fun game to talk about. I didn't think it was going to be a fun game after the first 4 minutes of this one, which looked like the Blazers were still on the road. But then they remembered, oh wait, we're in Portland, so we're going to try now. And the effort was much better outside of that first 4 minutes. They not only erased that deficit, they got up to a 10, 11 point lead. The Raptors made a couple runs late. The Blazers survived them. That's what you gotta do at home against a solid Toronto team that was coming in at 7-7. And the Blazers get the victory. It was nice to see Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum going at the same time. They were hitting some shots at the same time, more so than any other game this year, so that was fun to watch. Larry Nance had some big moments. We will talk about all of it. I will give my perspective from being at the game, and Eric will give his perspective from being at home. Eric, what is the perspective of yours from this game?
First of all, I love the new jerseys. I don't know what you thought of them in person.
They look nice.
But yeah, they look really good. I'm going to sound like an old man here, though. I don't think we can wear them playing another team with red and black in their jersey because, honestly, watching on TV, I have really good eyesight. But, some of the times I was like, no, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, wait, that's our team. Because when they're turned to the side, it was, red with, black if the camera was on the right side of it, and the Raptors had red with a black stripe. So it was I don't know if anyone else had that problem during the game, but the jerseys overall, if we're playing the Lakers or something like that, they would look really nice. But yeah, maybe not against red and black.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had that a little bit, but yeah, I could see how watching it on TV it might be hard. But the jerseys are clean, especially in person, man. I didn't know how they were going to look. When they unveil them, and then when they unveil them on the court, a couple weeks later usually, they always look a little different, or it's just a different perspective seeing the jerseys on the court on players compared to, them just unveiling it on Twitter or whatever. So I didn't really know how they were going to look in person. And, I was thinking, oh, they might look a little tacky. I thought they looked clean. They look really good in person. And,
I got a couple of people calling me an old man, but for the most part, a lot of people are agreeing with me. So,
I mean, both can be true. Both can be true.
Yeah. Right.
So, what were your thoughts on the basketball? Or were you just so lost by the coloring of the jerseys that you could not analyze the game?
So a lot of good stuff to talk about. We'll start with the start of the game. We got to find a way. But when we're talking about accountability, it's not just benching someone, it's how you respond after you make a mistake or seemingly need to be benched. And I felt after the start, we had several guys make some just boneheaded mistakes on rotations or two guys going to the ball and stuff like that. And it was nice to see that later in the game, some of those people that were making mistakes were some of our best players in the second half. And someone like Rocco, that's what you need. You need them to hold them accountable and for them to step up and play better. You don't need them to pout and disappear and just go to the bench all whiny and then not get back engaged with the game. So I thought they did a good job in this game of when they made mistakes and came out flat, I felt like most of the players responded well.
Yeah, Rocco was really bad the first 4 minutes. I was triggered at Robert Covington to start. It was the dude just looked like he wasn't trying, man. And it was just different being there in person and seeing it. He, was 2 seconds too low on getting out on a shooter. He was the second guy rotating out. He helped. First guy got back out to the first pass. They swung it to the second guy, and Robert Covington should have been there on the catch, and he was still on the key. And then there's a second play where he helped onto the roll man from the corner, even though the roll man was covered. And we hedged, and I think Zeller was in the game at that point. It might have still been Nurkic, whoever it was able to recover to the big man and shut down the roll. And Robert Covington just left his guy in the corner and went to the roll man for no reason. So they kicked it to the corner, and that was a wide open 3. And then on top of that, there were some other breakdowns, which I couldn't even tell what was happening. Sitting 100 level baseline, the stanchion / backboard gets in the way of a couple things, so it's easy to see what happens, but if you're trying to see everything on the court, it's a little bit hard if you're sitting 100 level baseline. But there's just a couple other defensive breakdowns, and it was frustrating. It looked like a road game. 13-3, Toronto started in this game, and then it's like the team woke up, and the Blazers won this game on the backs of their shot making, but outside of the first 3 minutes in which they had 13 points, we held Toronto to 100 points in 45 minutes. I mean, that's pretty solid. So Toronto had 60 the first half. They end up with only 53 the second half. It's just, you look at how we got back into the game, we were making shots. We had 37 points in the second quarter. That was Dame hitting shots. He had an efficient night tonight. CJ hit shots. He had an efficient night tonight. Like I said, both those guys had it going. Norman Powell didn't do a whole lot, but Robert Covington made some shots. Powell got to the line. That was part of it. He had 8 free throw attempts tonight, but then Rocco
should have had 10.
Should have had 10, absolutely. Oh my
that
goodness. The refs were rough today. So we won despite that. Rocco, 4 for 7, 3 for 5 and 3. Larry Nance Jr., 7 for 7. Naz, 3 for 7. Zeller, 3 for 3. Anthony had made a couple shots in that second quarter. He actually might have gotten all his points in that second quarter. So
yeah, I know he played in the second half, but he got taken out really quick. I don't know if he did something wrong or if they just wanted to go with Dame and CJ more, but yeah.
Yeah, Dame and CJ ended up playing 40 minutes in this game. I guess it's okay. Dame didn't play last night, obviously, so Dame looked fresh and obvious. Looking back on that, it was a good decision to rest him because he was fresh enough tonight. Even if we have Dame last night, I'm not sure we win that game. And then if Dame played last night, I'm not sure he has as good of a performance tonight, and we needed every ounce of it. So overall, our offense looked good, and it wasn't necessarily because of ball movement. I thought we were pretty stagnant throughout this game. You just had some guys hit some shots, but then also outside of Dame and CJ, I feel like a lot of guys tried to attack in this game. Even Robert Covington had a drive in a weird floater, like a CJ McCollum type of finish. I don't know, man. He thought he was CJ McCollum for a second. He tried to drive a few times. Powell was in attack mode. Naz was in attack mode. You just had guys actually trying to attack once they had the ball. And if you're gonna be stagnant, you gotta get guys trying to go downhill, go at the rim, collapse the defense, and work from there, and that can spark some of that ball movement. So I thought they were pretty stagnant, but it's fine when you're able to make some shots. It's fine when Dame and CJ are hot.
Yeah, I kind of disagree a little bit. I felt like, for the most part, our ball movement was actually pretty good. And the only times it wasn't when Dame and CJ got a Scotty Barnes on him, and they think that's easy to get by him, but he's shown already this year that he's not easy to blow by. So I felt like the only real bad times in this game were when those two were trying to ISO a good perimeter defender, and we're not really getting a lot on those actions. But for the most part, I felt like, especially in the second half, our ball movement was really good.
I mean, we had, there was possessions that I feel like you're forgetting where we'd have one pass or even no passes and kind of just be standing around and it'd be developing way too slow. Whatever we were trying to run, developing way too slow or falling apart. And I saw there was a possession where I saw Nance run over to set an away from ball screen, and Dame told him to go set an on-ball screen. And the whole time, CJ's just kind of sitting there waiting for somebody to do something. So there were some moments where I thought we were really stagnant. I don't think it was just when we were trying to ISO Scotty Barnes. There was some solid ball movement possessions, but I mean, we make 46 shots. Almost half of them were unassisted. We had 25 assists, which I guess is good for the Blazers. But overall, it was a lot of Dame and CJ creating everything. They combined for 14 assists as well as 39 shots, and I felt like not a ton of it was necessarily them playing off the ball per se, but I mean, we're just nitpicking there. It's not necessarily a negative when these guys have good games. Like, they can, however we're playing, if Dame and CJ have it rolling, we can play however, and we'll be fine offensively.
Yeah, I mean, Dame had several drives to the basket where he either got fouled, not many calls, but or he finished, and then he had his little step back mid-range game working. So, but those were all fairly clean looks. So that's almost half of the 21 unassisted field goals right there. So I don't know. I was fine with the way the ball moved tonight.
Yeah. Defensively, I don't know, man. You're going to have more analysis defensively. I mean, outside of the first 4 minutes, I think it was fine. It was just like this team kind of woke up. And Rocco, there's been question marks about Rocco. Jason Quick went on 1080 The Fan a few days ago and said there is a malcontent that was on the team last year. And he said it wasn't Yusuf Nurkic. So, but apparently somebody isn't all the way bought in. And if I had to guess, it would have been Rocco, because his body language has kind of been bad this year, and he's been hasn't been a good defender. He's been poor, and that first 4 minutes, I mean, I said on Twitter I wouldn't play him another minute, which I was wrong, because Rocco woke up after that. It's just getting frustrating how to start games. This team digs itself a hole. But after that, Robert Covington woke up. There was a stretch, you probably didn't see it on TV, but something happened. He was hyping up the crowd, all energetic. And it was like this team found its pride somewhere in the middle of the first quarter to the start of the second quarter. This team found its attitude. And it just looked like the body language was different in everything. You have Nurk out there smiling after his and one. You have Larry Nance.
A pass from Rocco, by the way.
Yeah, pass from Rocco. You got Larry Nance Jr. staring down Kem Birch after he made that three. You have CJ hit a three and, look at the Raptors bench and, I don't know. It just seemed like this team found its mojo and found its pride, found its attitude, found its energy. And that's what the home crowd is for, obviously. That's why there's home court advantage. It just gets me frustrated because when this team plays with an attitude and plays with energy and plays with pride, it's a good basketball team. It's not a terrible roster. It's a good basketball team, in my opinion. And even if they're not running the right stuff, even, we're disagreeing on the ball movement. There was some good possessions of ball movement. I think they were stagnant a lot tonight. It was kind of a mixed bag. But regardless, it's like, if Dame and CJ can make shots, good. But this team, the baseline needs to be them playing with a certain level of energy. And anything below that is unacceptable. And the first 4 minutes, compared to the rest of the game, you saw the difference between the Blazers on the road and the Blazers at home.
Yep. And that's something that they have to have travel with them. They can't just rely on the home crowd to get them pumped up. They have to find a way to bottle that and take it with them when they go on their next road trip.
Yep. What else did you notice from this game?
So the defense stuff that you wanted to talk about that you didn't really get to notice.
I mean, I know some of it. I just feel like you probably have a little better grip being able to watch it on TV.
The problem is it's weird because I thought the first 5 or so games of this season we were giving up open threes because of poor rotations. And we're still giving up threes because of poor rotations. But it's almost turned into our pick and roll defense is so bad that it's causing everyone to be out of position when the two guys involved in the pick and roll have to be able to contain it better. And Zeller comes in the first quarter, and every single time they put him in the pick and roll, and he's not dropping, but he's not up either. So he's like 2 steps behind the guard, and Van Vliet was just coming across those, and he'd have, when you have a good ball handler, he can just pick apart that kind of defense because it's not aggressive and it's not drop either. So he can see the whole floor. He has a shot if he needs to. He can see if someone's open. And then the problem is when the big rolls, Zeller's not with him. He still has to stay up because the guard isn't quite through the pick yet. So we're having the problem where Rocco, I was like, don't help on that, Rocco. Don't help on that. And Rocco helps because Birch or whoever was wide open. And then Van Vliet just easily kicks it out to OG or whoever's in the corner, and he hits a wide open three. And that was happening a lot in the first half. And it's primarily because if you are going to have a good defense, how many times have we said this? It's got to be aggressive at the level of the screen. So in those situations, if the guard's not getting through, Zeller's got to be all the way up and basically stopping Van Vliet from moving at that point. And if the guard is getting through, Zeller has to just get out of there as soon as possible so that he can recover to his man and Rocco doesn't have to help or whatever in those situations. And I felt like there was at least 10 examples of that in the first half when Zeller came in where we gave up an open shot simply because we weren't playing the pick and rolls right. And that's why I'm still encouraged about this team, because this is something that's easily correctable if they want to correct it and work on it. So I still feel like we could be a really good defense, even with our personnel, if we just take care of the positioning on the pick and roll and how to be aggressive, when to be aggressive, when not to be, when to not come out at all. And those guys have to scrap, the guards have to scrap through those picks, because it almost cost us a few times. Then they got back in the game at the end as well. But yeah, so that's what I'm noticing on defense. But like in the second half, the difference was we were flying around. Like when you make mistakes, you have to make up for it with effort, and you have to like just hustle and get out, close out faster. You have to like just make up for it somehow with effort. And I felt like a lot of the guys who played in the second half were doing that.
Yeah, well, I wanted to touch on what you were talking kind of before the effort thing. When we're playing up at the point of the screen, the guard, after they get through the screen, has to get up into the ball handler, right? Because you have the big man, right? So say it's a screen and the ball handler's going to his left. You have the big man to his left hedging out, right? If you're on defense, he's going out to the right, right? And the problem is if you don't pressure them, if you don't pressure the guard and you have both defenders high, they can easily hit that big man, and then you have to rotate, and then we break down from there. But all you have to do is make the guard hesitate for a second, and that big can get back, or at least get in between the roll man and the ball handler to be able to take away that pass. That's how you run it effectively. The problem is we're not being aggressive enough on the ball. If you're the guard getting screened and you get through that screen and you get up into the ball, and the one thing is if you get too close to up into the ball, it's easier to blow by. But if you're on, if the guy's going to your right and you're on his left hip after getting through the screen on your right and you're up on his left hip, and he's not going to be able to drive to the side you're at. The only way he can drive and blow by is to the side that the big's at. And if the big starts to recover and that guy drives, the big is there to bottle that up. And he's just driving into the big, driving into the crowd, and that pass is no longer there. So the guard has to get through the screen and get up on the outside hip of the ball handler when they're getting through that screen. And then the big has to start to recover, but be ready if the guard turns that corner to be able to provide that help. And the problem is we don't get up into the ball handler's hip. And they're able to kind of, take a dribble and just pass, right? Here's the thing. If you get up close enough into them and they go to pick up the ball, just jump. Just jump. Straight up. Not into them. Just jump. Try and get a hand on that pass. And if you make it so that they don't pass it, you've completely shut him down because he no longer has his dribble and he's not able to get it to the big in time. And the guy that hedged, Zeller or Nurkic or whoever, is able to get back to his man and everything's covered. So that's the thing, is it's just like we break down like that, and everybody sees, oh, this. People will say, oh, the scheme doesn't work, or oh, so and so's too small, or all sorts of stuff. But it legitimately starts at the top. It starts at the ball screen. The guard has to get through the screen and then get up into their hip and pressure them and be ready to try and deflect that pass. And the closer you are, the less they're going to be able to zip that pass to that big man, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to have to throw it over you, maybe get a little bit more air. So that's the key to running that well, is for the guard. You know, the big has to hedge properly and whatnot, can't let him split or what may have you, but the guard has to get up into them and not make that pass available or make that pass hard and slower. And that's the one thing I noticed tonight. Like, when we play with more intensity, we get up into them more. And that's why our defense is better. When we run that aggressive scheme, when we're playing lazy, we don't get up into them and they just pick us apart. That's what we've seen on the road.
I just DM'd you a picture of what I was talking about on Twitter. Would you be able to bring it up on screen so I can kind of show people what we're talking about?
Let's do that.
I didn't want to do the video, but while you're doing that, so old Jakob had a 20 Norwegian krone donation, giving praise to Chauncey tonight, keeping Nance on. I thought this was Chauncey's best game in a long time. I felt like he was doing what we were talking about previous games, and that's keep the guys out there who are making a run. Like, don't sub them out. I was glad that he kept Nance and Nas in the game. Now those two need to rebound a little better, especially at the end there. But other than that, I felt like the decision to keep those two in the game pretty much won the game for us.
Yeah. Eric, send it to me on Discord because the file type is not compatible with OBS. Let me take the other two donos. We got a $2 dono from the original Dizzy D. He says, a much-needed W, hashtag Rip City Soldier Style. That's his hashtag. Shout out to Dizzy D for the $2 dono. Appreciate it. And shout out Rip City 208 for $2 dono. He says, CJ dropping the F-bomb in the postgame was gold. I missed that. He dropped an F-bomb in the postgame show.
Yeah.
On accident? Was it like you, or was it?
Yeah, it was like me. He was like, oh, he said I was playing good, and then I had that effing turnover or something, and he's like, oops, sorry.
CJ.
Yeah, it was exactly like me, pretty much.
CJ's the Players Association president and like done media, and he slips up and says that. So, hey, Eric, don't worry about saying the S word, man, because it happens to the best of them. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I will throw this up on the screen as soon as possible. Let me save it. Unable to save. I don't know what the easiest way to do it. Why don't you just upload it to the cloud, Eric?
Because it's on my phone, not on my computer.
Yeah, there's no, because I can't save it for whatever reason. So there's no, or I could do this.
Can't just download it?
No, I can't. I'll break out the good old snipping tool.
Okay.
But it would be, actually, we should start doing that more, showing pictures of like certain places, just still images, because we can't show highlights because we'll get copyrighted. If we could do highlights, dude, this show would be like just insane, like as good as possible, in my opinion. Sadly, we can't, but we can show still images, so we should definitely start doing that. Let me pull it up here. All right, so this play, Eric. Let me maximize it. All right, so what stood out to you about this play?
So right here, you notice how Zeller is, a few feet away from Van Vliet, right? At this point, so Van Vliet, if you continue the play, Van Vliet continues driving in, and Zeller stays there. But at this point, Dame should already be through that screen and recovered enough to where Zeller shouldn't be there anymore. So he needs to recover back to his guy at this point. But instead, he stays there. But if you're going to stay there, he should be up at the same level Dame's at. So they should be trapping that right there. And maybe you can force a turnover and Van Vliet can't pass it all the way to the far corner, which he does to OG. And you can't see him in the picture, but he's in the bottom right, who Rocco's guarding. And so as this play continues, so Van Vliet drives into Zeller and makes him commit. But if Zeller makes him commit to stopping up top there, that's so much better defense, and that's how you stop teams from abusing our pick and roll defense if we play more at the level. And if we're going to play like this, you can't stay there more than a second. You have to show real quick and get back to your guy, and then Rocco doesn't ever have to help. Dame should be quick enough to stay somewhat in front of Van Vliet and make him make a tough shot if he decides to shoot there. But instead, Zeller just stays there. Birch is wide open down the lane. CJ can't leave Trent in that situation because he's one pass away. And Van Vliet just easily passes to the corner because Rocco goes way too far off his guy.
Yeah, that's a good breakdown. In the future, we could add this to the post-game show if the subscribers want it, if the viewers want it. You could send me like multiple pictures of a play and I could do it like a slideshow.
Oh, okay.
And so I could go to the next one, and we do all our graphics through a cloud, right? Through a secret cloud. So that's where Chris basically makes all the graphics for me and puts them in. So if you're able, the cloud, Eric, if you just put them in there, I could add them, and this could be a segment, and that would be cool to be able to illustrate things. That'd probably be the best way to actually illustrate some of the stuff we end up talking about.
Yeah.
So, let me. I was in the middle of setting up graphics. I thought you had a little bit more.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, this is just an example. So Zeller, and this is what makes Nurk so good, is he has been up about 2-3 feet higher than where Zeller's at right now. Mm-hmm. So that, like I said, cuts off the ball handler. If he's going to, he either has to pick up his dribble there, or he has to keep dribbling across the court. Whereas if you're even a few steps behind like Zeller is, it allows him to turn that corner on Dame and get into Zeller where he has to stay there. So that's the situation where we really need to be better. And Zeller in particular has come in now for ever since the first few games and been the culprit of this kind of half kind of playing up, but half not. And it's just getting abused every time he comes in.
Yeah. So Zeller right now should basically be kind of recovering towards the elbow area. That takes away the pass from Van Vliet. And Dame either is able to get back in front, which is the best case scenario, or Van Vliet turns the corner and drives into the lane. At that point, Zeller meets him kind of in the lane, and Van Vliet would be so close to Kem Birch that it's not going to be easy for Van Vliet to score on Zeller helping over or get the ball to Van Vliet, right? If Zeller's on Van Vliet here and Van Vliet can get Birch the ball, he's way behind Zeller and he's able to attack and collapse. But, if Van Vliet's the one to attack and then Zeller helps, again, maybe around the block area, a little bit above, Birch isn't anywhere near as much of an option, and guys like Robert Covington, CJ McCollum, Norman Powell could stay home.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yep. And see, the opposite for years with Stotts. So Zeller would, if Van Vliet was Dame in this situation, Zeller would be up double teaming him. He could sometimes get it to the big man, but most of the time what he'd have to do is Trent would have to go back towards half court to accept the pass cross court, and then they'd have to try to attack that way, and by that time the defense had already recovered, so it never really gave us an advantage. But yeah, that's why I like aggressive styles, because it makes it so much more complicated for the offense to get a good shot than how easy it was on this particular play.
Yep, agreed. We'll have to start doing that in the future. That'll be cool. That'll be something to add to this. So any other takeaways as far as like the way the team played in general? Or do you want to hop into player cards?
Well, I'll talk about it on the player cards.
All right, let me Yeah, let me get the player card set up. Lots of good performances today. You'll love to see it. It's going to be fun to talk about some of these guys, especially a certain one. All right. I wasn't ready with the player cards. I don't know why I acted like I was, Eric, but you know how it goes. Let me get it up in here. All right. The first guy we're going to talk about is going to be CJ McCollum.
I was going to say it better be.
It was close between he and Dame. All right. I had people saying CJ McCollum needs to be coming off the bench. I don't know why his nickname is Iron Man. That's a Chris thing. Ask him. 6 assists, 29 points, 2 blocks. Eric.
Dude, that was the play of the game.
He blocked Scotty Barnes' dunk.
Mm-hmm.
But our guards are too small, man. We just can't compete. Our guards are too small. Bro, OG Anunoby, when he posted up Norm, he scored the first time, did not score again. Norm played great post defense on him, despite being smaller. And with that wingspan of his, and that standing reach, that's why I care more about standing reach and wingspan compared to height. He was able to do a really good job contesting OG Anunoby's shots. I know we're on CJ's card, but this is just kind of a general thing. And Norman Powell also got a block on the rim that they called a foul where he got all ball on Pascal Siakam. Mm-hmm. So, CJ's a good shot blocking guard. Yeah, 2 blocks in this game. You can make up for a lack of size by effort and playing smart defense. CJ did both those things on that play where he got that block. Not only did he rotate perfectly and timed it perfectly, he also, takes some effort to get up with a guy like a Scotty Barnes, especially when you're CJ. You're not necessarily thought of as the most athletic jumper. I mean, that was phenomenal. Phenomenal play. And then we go out and then Dame hits a 3 on the other end, dude. That was fun because it was both our backcourt guys. Mm-hmm. One of them making a great defensive play and one of them making a great offensive play. I love that.
Yep. So, just to piggyback kind of what you said. Okay, what's our biggest problem on defense? Do you think it's getting torched inside in the paint, or do you think it's giving up open threes?
It's giving up open threes.
Okay. And do you think that is a product of the size of your roster?
Yeah, I don't know how the size of your roster would make you give up more open threes. If you're smaller, you should be quicker and be able to get out and make those not open threes.
That's what drives me crazy about the height thing. It's like, oh, they gave up another open 3. This 3-guard lineup can never work. It's the roster. Yeah, so
terrible.
Yeah, so that's the funny part to me is we're not giving up open 3s because of our size. It's because people aren't out there guarding them, right? That's scheme to me, and that's why I've always said you can have mediocre defenders if they have a really good scheme and play together and don't make mistakes and rotate well.
Yeah.
And of course, like Kyle says, length helps if you want to close out on those shooters. But how open we leave shooters has nothing to do with height. That's just we leave shooters wide open. And so
if guys are hitting shots because we have small guys contesting them and they're able to comfortably shoot over them, then maybe you can make the argument. But the issue is guys are shooting without anybody within 5 feet of them. That's the issue. We give up way too many open threes where it's not even a contest. Let alone a guy being undersized and contesting. We don't even contest a lot of threes and give up a lot. It's open threes, not contested threes. If we contested threes, I mean, we'd be sitting here with a winning record right now.
Yeah. Bando says Chauncey literally disagrees, even though he still continues to start 3 guards. And when Dame was out, he could have started a bigger lineup against a big team, and he still chose to guard Ant. So I don't know why you keep bringing up that one comment, Bando.
This was a good game, all right? So I know you guys probably didn't expect a rant, but here it is. Bro, that quote from Chauncey Billups before this game where he said, we're giving up size by starting Norm at the 3. Obviously, that We all know that. What? Like, that's not him saying, we're too undersized. We need to trade CJ. Like, people want to hear what they want to hear and don't actually think about things. They love their narratives and everything. They try and fit into their narrative, just like we talked about, some of the defensive issues and people trying to make it out to be size, right? This is part of that. Chauncey said, by starting Norm, we're giving up size. But we're still starting Norm. And I want to cuss right now. No crap, we're giving up size by starting Norms. He just said the obvious that we all know. It's literally just a fact.
And this is his point. The point is, we're giving up that size, so there's no excuse for the perimeter defense being as bad as it is, right?
Exactly.
And I sat here last night saying that was one of the games where I felt like having a smaller lineup did us in from the beginning, because Denver did a good job of attacking the basket earlier in that game. We got down by a lot. We had to fight back. Couldn't really ever get it close. I think the most we got it to was within 9. But they did a really good job at the beginning of the game of having cutters to the basket or posting up whenever Aaron Gordon or someone got a mismatch on one of our guards, and it killed us. But like, for the most part, I don't like when people say it's our size when most games it's not because of our size. Even the Phoenix game, where you could say, "Oh, look how Kaminsky abused our guards down low." Well, it's
shouldn't have been
like,
guards.
If we didn't switch every pick, we wouldn't have gotten our guards switched onto him to where he could just easily score. So that's where I have an issue with it. And Chauncey's always, from the beginning, has said that they need to be more aggressive and scrappier if they play small, and we just haven't seen that enough, in my opinion. And I think they have a whole nother level of aggression they can get to, and they have to play that way. And Tori and I have talked about that for years. We can't play a conservative defense and be small, right? We need to have an aggressive defense if we're going to play small. If we're going to play bigger, then maybe you can get away with that sometimes. But like, that's our whole point all along. So we believe in this lineup, but only if it plays the way that Chauncey has said it needs to play. So him saying the lineup is small isn't him conceding that it won't work. He's saying that it needs to play a certain way, and it hasn't up until this point.
Yeah, I don't know. We were saying that giving up open threes isn't due to size, and he has not disagreed with that at all. CJ threw a lob this game, Eric, to Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah.
CJ can't throw lobs, apparently. That was a phenomenal pass. Well, that was CJ play. Too. I've seen CJ lately.
Hey, and then a few plays later, Dame had a nice drive and a drop-off pass to Larry Nance. Where was he located on both of those plays, Tori?
In the dunker's spot, aka
and what have I
corner,
been
aka
saying,
block area.
What have I been saying after every game this season where Larry Nance needs to park his behind on almost every play? Yep. And look what happens. He's wide open. Like, he gets a good lob pass from CJ, a pinpoint pass for an easy dunk, and then he gets a nice dump pass, immediately goes up and gets another dunk. Like, that's the perfect spot for him to play in. And I think Nurk should be in that spot too. I don't like him rolling down the middle of the screen if he's not initiating the offense. I'd rather have him under the basket around the baseline. Zeller, I keep saying this, complete opposite. We had a nice play today where Zeller caught the ball on those rolls in the middle of the key, kicks it out to Nance for a wide open 3. So Zeller is okay. I feel comfortable with him in the middle of the key. Nance can do either, but I really like Nance in that dunker spot, and I'd really like to see Nurk in that spot more.
Yeah, and if you play Nance with Nurkic and Nurkic rolls, I want Nance in that spot because it would be like the same type of pass. And we would see that with like Noah Vonleh when he started, was kind of the token starter. And this goes back to when Al-Farouq Aminu was the 4 and everybody was saying, what is Stott supposed to do? Al-Farouq Aminu can't shoot well enough for them to beat the trap. Well, put him in that spot and get him dunks. Like, you can't guard both. If the guy's rolling and you don't step to him, or somebody's driving and you don't step to him, that's a layup or a dunk. If you do, have a guy at the block area / short corner area ready for that dump off pass. And Al-Farouq Aminu could have done that. and he just sat in the corner and shot threes, and people say, oh, he's just not a good enough shooter. It's like he could do what Larry Nance Jr. did tonight, and I think Robert Covington could be in that spot. Like, if Robert Covington's not hitting threes, he should be in that spot. He should mix it up. And I know, he's not as athletic or as good of a finisher as with Larry Nance Jr., but we're talking about
good
wide
things
open.
happened tonight when he did cut, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you beat things. And Toronto did that consistently all night, especially in the first half. Like, when they had their offense rolling and were picking apart our aggressive scheme, they had somebody in that spot. And we've always been too content to have somebody in the corner. So that's why I like Larry Nance Jr., and that's why I would like to see him maybe play with Nurkic, so that Nurkic on those short rolls could have that option in the dunker's spot, because I think Nurkic will hit that, and I think that'll work. But yeah, I mean, somehow we got talking about Larry Nance Jr. We'll have his player card coming up. But CJ, lob pass. Phenomenal pass. He made a couple good passes. Nance had a slip as well to the rim when both guys went up to CJ, and he slipped it perfectly, and CJ hit him on the pass.
Yeah, look.
Yep, and see, that's the thing is, if both those guys are going to go up, they have to pressure CJ and take away that pass. But Nance, the faster he slips that, the sooner he's available. So if he slips that fast enough, and this is what I always do, this is what I say when I play like rec league with guys. This goes down to any level of basketball. If the guy guarding the ball handler on the pick and roll, as well as the guy guarding the screen man on the pick and roll, both go higher than the screen man, they go immediately. Right when they notice that, they go immediately. It doesn't even have to be a screen. Like, if they're coming up to set the screen and, they're hedging or trapping, and that guy guarding them goes above them, immediately go. Don't even, screw the screen, go. Because that over the top is going to be wide open, right? And the sooner they go, the less ball pressure that they're going to be able to apply, the easier the pass is going to be. So
it's just like that example in the picture we did.
Yep. So that's the thing is that's how you punish teams that are overzealous, like wanting to trap or hedge so bad that they do it too early. You slip it, you go, and he did. It was a wide open dunk.
Well, so CJ has those two passes, and I think he had one other one, all in sequence, and then the next play, the defense overcompensates, and all of a sudden CJ gets a wide open three, which he hits, right? And
Just
then
make the right play.
And then a couple plays later, he gets another wide open three. He misses it. He gets it back, another wide open three, air balls somehow.
That hit rim. I know which that barely hit rim.
Yeah, but
yeah.
But man, I'll take my chances with CJ getting open looks, and this is how he can do it. He's so good off ball, like catch and shoot. I don't understand why he has to force shots, unless it's like the late game situation. I'm fine with that. The move he put on Trent to get by him and the little floater in the lane. But like throughout the game, dude, just use your passing, and then the defense has to play. They cannot collapse on you. They cannot double team you because you're way too crafty to allow that to bother you, and you can make passes all game, and then they won't be able to double team you, and then you'll be able to get by your guy and have a much cleaner shot. Your efficiency will go way up, and that's what we begged of CJ for years. So I'm hoping, we know we've seen flashes of this throughout his career. I just hope there's a way for Chauncey to get through to him that this is how he wants him to play, like he did in that fourth quarter. And I know he made some mistakes too, but then, like I said, it's about how you respond to those mistakes. So he has a couple really bad turnovers right after that, and then, but then he has the block, and that was a great defensive play, all effort, and guys like CJ don't get up that high without having incredible effort, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how you respond when you do make mistakes, and not letting it linger to another mistake, and then you're compounding it by missing a rotation the next time down on defense, and then it just snowballs into we give up 3 open threes in a row, and all of a sudden we can't do anything and we lost the game. So I hope Chauncey goes to him and shows him those plays where he throws the lob and that pass to Nance in the key, and just says, look, man, this is open for you all day. You could average 10 assists easy if you do this kind of stuff more frequently.
Yeah. I mean, and people going into this game were saying, bring him off the bench. Well, he already played with the freaking bench unit, and you're not going to bring a guy this talented off the bench. Nobody this talented comes off the bench of the NBA. Like, people hate on CJ too much when he has bad games, and it's frustrating. And, I mean, I've criticized him. There's a difference between criticize and hate. Just be logical with it. Logically, he's still a really good player, and he wasn't doing a good job this season, or he wasn't doing as well of a job this season compared to last season in terms of picking his spots whether to shoot or pass. Tonight, I thought he did a great job of that. He was aggressive with his shot, but didn't really force bad shots. And, he had one-legged runner in the first half that was very cringe. But other than that, picked his spots really well, when to attack, when to shoot, and shot efficiently, and that's part of it. But then also made some plays for others. And when he does it, he's an all-star caliber player. And especially if he's given effort on defense as well, which he did in this game, then he's a freaking good player, man. He's a really good player. So, he gets a lot of hate. I just think that's a little over. It's a little too much.
And for the record, because we're going to have this inevitably, we're not saying that you don't look to move him if the right trade comes along. We've always been okay with that. But at the same time, it's not a case where we're better off without him on the team, like some people are suggesting.
Yeah, exactly. And if it makes sense. If any trade outside of Dame, I wouldn't trade him for anybody. If a trade makes sense, you do it. It's just people think some trades make sense that absolutely do not. That's basically where I sit at with that. Let's move on and talk about...
One more thing. CJ's just got to find a way. I mean, he's one of the culprits with... I see him all the time getting all pumped up and, at timeouts, going all crazy and stuff, and... I want to see him have fun like that on the road. I think that would pump up the team if he starts having that same level of enthusiasm.
Yeah,
because we need someone to step up like that.
Silence the road crowd and stare at them and point to them and be like, you guys quiet in here. The Trae Young stuff, have that attitude. Be the villain. Be the bad guy. Embrace it.
We know he likes to commit some questionable fouls at times. Do it the other way, where you're killing them with your shot making and passing.
Yeah, I just don't understand why being on the road takes so much out of this team. I don't know, man. The energy in the building, feed off it. If there's energy for the other team, you can still feed off of it. You can still get energized by it. We gotta shut these guys up. These guys are wrong. We gotta shut them down. We gotta shut this building up. And go and do that. Go and play. Just go bring energy. It's just oh, they're on a run. Oh, no. The crowd's loud. Oh, no. A wide open three. Bang. No emotion. Just, I don't know. I don't know how to personify the way this team is on the road, but it's not good. Damian Money Lillard. 24. 8 assists. 4 points. 2 steals, a block. Man, our guards are filling up the steals and blocks category. Even Dame had a block. He got in on the party. 10 for 21 from the field, Eric. 3 for 6 from 3. 1 for freaking 1 from the free throw line. This dude cannot get this pisses me off. Mm-hmm. They'll give Malachi Flynn calls that they won't give Damian Lillard. Larry Nance Jr. will hedge out Malachi Flynn. Malachi Flynn will drive into his hip, and they'll call a foul. Dame will drive. The guys will just chuck him and step into him and lean on him and push him, and he'll go up, and they'll push him a little bit in the back, and nothing. I understand, some of the 3-point stuff they used to get calls on that they fixed this year. He's not going to get those same calls. And he understands that. He's not complaining about those calls. He's not even looking for those calls anymore, right? The stuff when he's driving, he's just getting bodied with absolutely no respect. And it pisses me off. And I'm sure pissing him off, too. He got a technical for it. And I was like, okay, hopefully they'll give him a call now. They still didn't. The only free throw he shot was a technical free throw.
Yep.
Ridiculous. With how much he attacked the rim. He shot 15 shots from 2, Eric. And did not get a free throw outside of the 1 technical he shot.
I just don't like that. There were times where he had Kem Birch switched out on him, and Birch would just put 2 hands on him and basically grab him and stop him from driving. And right in front, the ref is literally standing right there on the sideline, and it's still no call. And Dame's laughing back like this. And he's not he's not flopping in a way to that there's no contact and he's just making it up. He's trying to get calls, but he's also so he's adjusted and he's trying to just go strong and not worry about it. But like, dude, that guy gets bodied, he gets slapped, he gets armbarred all the time when he drives, and he doesn't get any of those calls. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. He's not foul baiting. He goes basically straight to the basket. He's not like going into a defender usually. Most of the times he goes around them, or he only puts on the burners when he has a lane that's wide open and someone reaches in on his way by. That's a foul. That's not part of the new rules. It's driving me crazy that he can't get a call, and I'd be frustrated too if I was him.
Yeah. But overall, he's out of his slump, though.
Mm-hmm.
10 for 21 from the field, which includes 7 for 15 inside the arc. With how much he got bodied, you'll take that. 3 for 6 from the three-point line. He looks like he's looking like old Dame.
And he was money on those step back mid-range shots today, and that's good to see. But like Near 012 says, Van Vliet was hand checking him at the arc the whole game. And yeah, I must have missed the rule change where hand checking is now allowed and part of the foul baiting thing, right? Because they're just doing that to Dame all game, and it's kind of aggravating.
Yeah, they overcorrected. It's like, they overcorrected things and overdid it. So hopefully there's regression back to the mean, because this is a game where I think Dame should have probably had 10 free throws, if we're being real. And he has 1, and it's technical. So that's the thing. Last year, this was probably a 35-point game for him. It's harder when you can't buy a free throw and they're allowed to hand check you and do all that.
I also felt like tonight was the first time we saw a team aggressively trap Dame. Now, part of that's because he hasn't really had to have been like taken out of games too much this year. So it's nice to see him draw that attention this game, and I felt like that'll be an interesting dynamic to watch as we try to run pick and roll if teams start trapping Dame harder as he gets his shooting percentages up. If Chauncey has some ideas on how to make teams pay for that we haven't really exploited in previous years. And then also I felt like that's another reason why I like CJ, what he did in the fourth quarter of this game tonight, because when Dame is being taken out of the game like that, if you have CJ playing like a distributor, you feel more confident running the offense through him. And I felt like he did a really good job of Dame of letting CJ take control, and CJ stepped up with that as well.
Yep, let's talk about my guy, Larry Nance Jr. 7 for 7 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 15 points and 5 boards and 2 assists in 23 minutes. Scary Larry. I like that. Scary Larry Nance Jr. I mean, he was phenomenal today. We were down in the first quarter. They sub out Rocco, who was playing lackadaisical, and sub in Larry Nance Jr., and they had Ant in, and they had Nas in, and Dame was still in, and they had Cody Zeller. And I said to Jared, I was like, well, they got in a lineup with 5 guys who try. 5 guys who try. And he said to me, I don't know about Zeller, right? And I said, no, Zeller plays hard. And then literally, like, one of the first plays, Zeller, like, jumps into the crowd to save a ball, right? Larry was a part of that lineup, and, I mean, just, he's been an energy guy, and he's been, like, I don't know, we talked about him already, so I guess, what have we not talked about that you liked from him tonight?
I just liked a lot of his positioning. I liked his defense. There was 2 things I didn't really like. He's got to rebound better if he's the center, and he had another couple bad turnovers tonight. But I mean, I think those are going, as he gets more comfortable, he'll stop making as many mistakes. But you just got to kind of not have the same amount of turnovers as assists if you're getting the ball a lot. So just try to decrease that. But overall, I mean, it's hard to complain about anything when the guy goes 7 for 7 from the field.
Yep, agreed. Let's move on to Norman Powell. 12 points, 4 rebounds. Kind of a quiet game for him. 6 right from the free throw line, though. I thought he played some good D. What do you think of Norm tonight?
Yeah, still like his aggression. I still feel like he chooses good spots for that. 3 of 5 from 2, and one of those was what we talked about earlier. Just an absolutely horrific blown call by the refs that almost cost us this game.
Yep.
And yeah, so instead of being up 6, they go down, hit a 3, and cut it to 1. Yeah, so good thing that didn't end up costing this game. Got to somehow avoid the 3 turnovers, like I talked about with Nance, for how if you're gonna want more of a role and a little more offense, you gotta cut down on the turnovers. But other than that, I mean, his 3 wasn't falling tonight, but it's been pretty good throughout the year. I felt like he was kind of side-arming his 3s a little bit tonight. I don't know if he was kind of – I know he really wanted to play well against Toronto, but I didn't really have a problem with him. I felt like he played pretty good defense tonight as well.
Yep. Nothing really to add, honestly. He didn't do much today, man. Robert Covington, all right, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Outside of the first shift he had, he was good tonight. He started looking like old Rocco defensively, man. And I don't know if this dude is going through something off the court. It was funny, they took pictures of the players walking to the stadium, and like Rocco just looked depressed. And somebody said that, and I don't know, because like his lack of energy and just what he's doing defensively has not made sense. And at the start of the games, he's been the worst. So I don't know if he's dealing with something off the court and it takes him some time to like get into the mood to play basketball or something. I don't know. It's just the dude doesn't seem right. But this game, after the first shift, it was like he was fine, and then he's pumping up the crowd and like clapping and just like into it, and he's active on both sides of the court. And it's just like, I can we please get that consistently? Like, where's that been? What's going on? I don't understand. 3 blocks tonight. I don't know, man. He gets frustrated. It's just like when he's himself, he's a really good role player, and I just miss that. I miss having that consistently on this team.
Other than Dame, who's normally stoic, I don't know if you noticed this during introductions tonight, but the other 4 guys just kind of walked like. It was like high five, the body language was terrible, and then we start off the game terrible, and I was like, great. So something happened. Thankfully, they all got their heads out of their ass, but like. I did not like the body language that you were talking about, especially from Covington. He just seemed like grumpy or something, and like, don't bother me. All these players, other than Dame, who's normally, it's hard to tell sometimes the emotion for Dame, but like, CJ's usually dancing or doing something at the beginning of the game, and he didn't have that either, but it wasn't like he was like focused. It was just like kind of like I'm about to play another game, type of attitude.
I will say this: the introductions was like a little strange because they would announce one, then they show like highlights for like 15 seconds, and then they announce the next one. So I don't know if you noticed that as well in the stadium. It was just kind of like, this is different.
Yeah.
So that
maybe,
but they started the game.
Yeah.
They started the game like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was obviously a thing, and it's just like. I don't understand this team, dude. It's like all of a sudden they just wake up and they just like outscore the Raptors by about 15 the rest of the game. You know what I mean? Because they just start playing defense, and just all of a sudden now they got all this attitude, and CJ's like looking at the bench, and Larry Nance Jr. is staring down Ken Burch after hitting the 3, and Robert Covington's just clapping, looking at the crowd, and Yusuf Nurkic is smiling and stuff, and he's just like, what? I'm lost for words. I don't understand. What's wrong with this team, and then why is it so easy for them to snap out of it at home? Like, what? I'm trying to find ways to explain it, Eric. There's just no words for it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But Yeah, that's probably Billup's toughest task right now is figuring out why that is happening, first of all, and how you can make it not happen for long periods of time, especially on the road. So hopefully he can find a way to unlock some of that, but just hitting shots helps too. Like, so Rocco hits a three, and it kind of gets him going, and hit that one shot that you were talking about, the 2-pointer. And so like stuff like that, I feel like, and that's why cutting is so good, because oftentimes it's multiple people touching the ball, and you normally have a pass and get an assist off of it. So someone's feeling good that they made a good pass, and someone's feeling good that they scored and made a nice cut, and oftentimes it leads to a dunk, which gets some momentum going and all that stuff. So that's why I want all these guys to cut more. We've been begging for that for a long time. So that's maybe a way to get them going early, is have some more kind of set plays that have action going towards the rim or back screen or something. Even if it's to a player like Robert Covington, who isn't known for that, one, maybe you catch the defense off guard by setting up some sort of cut to the basket or back screen for him. And two, if he finishes a nice shot or gets an easy bucket early in the game, maybe that gets his confidence going and he's that much more energetic on defense and more focused or something. But just try to find a way to get some of our role players involved early in these games.
Agreed. Let's move on and talk about somebody who's going to be fun to talk about. We got Nasir Little, who, I mean, he's just, seeing him in person, man, is just something else. Because that finish he had on the break where he just elevated, it's just, the dude looks like a freak, like he's a freak athlete, man. He's insane. Brings the energy. I want him to shoot better from three. He's kind of struggled. I don't know what he was shooting on this season. Do you know? I'm curious about that. I can look it up.
This is like 35%, I think.
He was shooting 34% going into this game, and then was 1 for 4, so I think he's like 33%. Would like to see him shoot better. Want to see him shoot at least 35, 36%. A lot of his shots are close. But, I mean, he's defensively needs to bring it. Brought it this game. I thought he was really good defensively. And then energy-wise. And he should have caught a lob on the break. Norman had a lob opportunity to him and missed it. But I like the way he attacks, dude. Just... It's impressive seeing him in person.
Yeah, I thought it was great that he got to close the game. Now, much like Nance, Nas made a couple really bad mistakes on the defensive glass tonight. So one was he didn't box out the shooter on a free throw, and Malachi Flynn ends up getting his own rebound off a shot. And then they shoot a three off of that, and Nas fails to box out his guy who gets an offensive rebound, and they get another shot out of it. So that has to clean up. If you're going to be playing the 4 in those lineups, especially in a closing lineup at the end of a game, which, once again, I'm happy that he got that opportunity tonight. And I thought, other than the rebounding, he did fairly well. You just have to find a way to box out and get rebounds and make up for the smaller lineup in those situations. But other than that, I thought Nas had another good game.
Yep, and that's just little things that this team still has to do better. I mean, we've been a really good defensive rebounding team, so I mean, I'm not gonna be too hard on that. But he definitely needs to. You got to box out shooter. Like that's one of the things that's inexplicable. Yeah. I mean, somebody just communicate, take shooters. So that was definitely frustrating.
So a lot of times in the NBA, so there's, for those that don't know, so you can only have, if you're the team shooting, you have to have one player on each side. And if you're the team that's like on defense, you have 2 people on one side and 1 person on the other side. And so often what the 2 people on the same side will do will just both pinch in and block off the one guy. But on that particular play, Nas, for some reason, went behind the other guy, and so he wasn't in the middle to box out or pinch down on the one guy that they were both should have been boxing out, and then he wasn't near Malachi Flynn to put a body on him to prevent him from just walking down the lane and grabbing the ball. So yeah, I don't know what he was thinking on that play, but so those are the kind of things we talked about before, where it's like, oh, you do everything right, but then one person makes a mistake and it costs your team 3 points or whatever. So you can't have those mistakes, especially if you're going to be counted on in a closing lineup.
Yep. Agreed.
While we're on Nas, let's get to Gray Hughes investigates $5 donation.
We had donos. I forgot. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Well, it's perfect because this is about Nas. So
yeah.
We need an energy guy in the starting lineup, and that is Nas. He is the new Jerome Kersey and would boost the starter's energy. Rocco to the bench. What do you think about that?
Not after he, I was saying that the first 6 minutes of this game. Like, okay, well, I'm done starting Rocco. And then he kind of woke up. And now it's like, after he, woke up for a game, I don't want to bench him and maybe ruin that momentum. You know what I mean? So if he has a stretch where he's just falling asleep again, I'm down. But at this point, I don't know. Just see if maybe this is a turning point for him, because I think the last 3 quarters of this game he was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Appreciate the dono, Gray Hughes.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me who starts, really. I mean, unless the team keeps getting down 10 in the first few minutes of games like they have, then it's a problem we probably have to address and change the starting lineup. But if Nas is going to start, I'd want it to be situations like last game where he'd be starting at the 3, not the 4.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like that helps our rotation so much more. So if you're talking about changing the starting lineups, I would much rather, if it comes to a point where Rocco needs to be get less minutes and go to the bench and not start, if that's the culprit or whatever, I'd like to just see a Nance for Rocco swap.
Yeah, I agree. Because if it's Nas, Nas is going to be playing more 4 and Rocco's going to be playing more 3.
Yeah.
Because Rocco would be playing minutes next to Nance off the bench. Yeah. So I'm not a fan of switching it so that Nas is playing more 4 and Rocco's playing more 3. I'm not a fan of that. I would just start Nance if Rocco's that bad, because Nance would be good next to Nurkic.
And this isn't to say that Nas shouldn't necessarily be starting. I don't think you have to rush that, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's just important that he's getting regular minutes, and unlike the past couple of years when he's had good games and seemingly just been taken out of the rotation for no reason, and then we have no energy and no defense, and we're wondering why Nas doesn't get a chance to mitigate that a little bit. And so as long as he's getting 25 minutes like he did tonight, or somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes consistently every game, I don't really worry about whether he's starting or not, and I don't think it's he's the type of player that has to start in order to feel confident or whatever. And I think he's only in his 3rd year, so we have time still to gradually turn him into a starting caliber player. I just don't know if that's necessarily having to happen right now.
Yeah, I agree. Shout out to Clearly a Bot. What a name. What a phenomenal name. Shout out to Clearly a Bot for a $5 dono. He says, "It is crazy to think a few of the players on the roster fall asleep during games, especially at the start. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, man. I don't know. I am at a loss for words.
Yeah, no,
it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
That's when your defensive strategy should be the most locked in. Your game plan should be really good the first 2 possessions. I don't understand.
Yeah, he's been a member for a month. I haven't seen. Maybe they did a username change. I don't know.
Did Clearly a Bot's been here.
Has he?
Yeah, he's been.
Oh, now I feel bad. What's up, Clearly a Bot? I love your name. Appreciate the dono. I am at a loss for words for that. Let's move on to Mr. Inferne 20 Simons. 8 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Had a big second quarter and then barely played the second half. It's two quarters.
Second
20.
quarter, I'm guessing second quarter.
Bro, 20 is my favorite number, so I'm seeing 20, and I was vibing with it. But second quarter Simons, yeah. I don't know why he barely played in the second half, but I don't know. It wasn't a big deal. He
Well,
was good offensively in the first half.
so Dame came back in the fourth quarter right at the beginning, and CJ stayed out, so Ant wasn't out there, and then that lineup started doing good, and then I think Billups just stuck with it. I don't think it was. Um, so yeah, we haven't gotten to this other player yet, but um, I don't think so. We have times where accountability will be like, oh, so and so got benched in the fourth quarter, and he's clearly not playing well or whatever. I don't think that was necessarily the case tonight, especially with Ant. I felt like he actually kept us in the game with his shooting in the second quarter, as his nickname indicates. Uh, but we were down like 9 points or so, and he hit a couple threes and really kept us in the game, I thought. And I don't think it was like, oh, he got benched in the fourth quarter. I just think the players that were in there were doing such a good job. Yeah, I don't think it would have been right to sub any of them out at that time.
Yeah, it wasn't a situation where I was complaining about it. Just you got good players on this team, so some games, some players might not play as much, and I'm sure Anthony knows the deal. I'm all right with it. But he did definitely give this team a spark and help bring this team back in the game in that second quarter. So good performance from him. Let's move on and talk about, let me see who's next. We got Cody Zeller, who played solid today, I think. 3 for 3 from the field. I think he was 3 for 3 last game. So he's just perfect efficiency. Him and Nance combined to go 10 for 10. Had 3 boards, had an assist, 12 minutes. I love that hustle play that he had in the first quarter. That's the thing. We need guys that, if we're sleeping to start the game, will come in and set the tone from an energy department, and I think he helped do that. What were some of your other takeaways for Cody Big Boy Zeller?
Yeah, I forget if it was him or Nance, but there was one where one of our bigs kind of tipped the ball, and then Dame came in and knocked it to the corner and just barely grabbed it in time. And I think we ended up getting a 3-pointer out of that. So saving a possession, that was a big play in this game. I can't remember if it was Zeller or not, but that also the one you mentioned where he dove into the crowd. So yeah, I like his energy. He just seems to have a knack of when to get to the basket and when to kick out of those situations. So just really smart on that end. And then also, I just, like I said, the other problems with the defense, I feel like they're fixable if we just tell him to play those coverages different. And that's why I'm kind of excited about the prospects of everyone long term once they get more locked into the game plan and we have a better game plan for those situations. I feel like all of his faults would be kind of masked if we just had him play a little up further on those screen rolls. But other than that, just nice solid game. Didn't play a lot, but just make an impact when you're in, and he certainly did that, I think.
Let's talk about Nurkic.
Okay.
14 rebounds, 18 minutes. 5 points. Had one nice finish against Van Vliet. Quiet game, only played 18 minutes today. We thought this might be a game that he might break out, but Chauncey elected to go smaller. I don't think it was a situation where he was benching Nurkic because Nurkic was playing bad. It was a situation where they're playing Scotty Barnes at some center, Pascal Siakam. They're basically playing a forward at the center spot permanently this entire game. And you had some minutes with Khem Birch that Nurkic was matched up against them, but for the most part, it was a forward at the center spot. So with Nance playing well, Nance got a lot of center minutes in this game. The Blazers went small and kind of matched up against the Toronto Raptors. But I love the way he rebounded. He really went after boards today. 2 for 4 from the field. I mean, that's okay. He had a couple bad misses in terms of lay-ins, but also had a nice up and under finish and a nice spin move where he just went strong right at the guard that switched onto him and drew the foul. Also made the free throw. So overall, solid game from Nurkic. I'm not, too quiet stat line, low minute total outside of the rebounds. It's quiet. Solid game though, I think.
Yeah, this guy continues to be a monster on the boards. For how difficult of a matchup defensively this is when they don't have a big man for him to, completely different than last night, right? Trying to battle Jokic and stay out of foul trouble. And tonight's like, just keep a faster guy who wants to take it right at you in front of you. So I felt like he did a pretty good job for the most part, especially when he got matched up into some situations where he had to stop a guy from penetrating, and I felt like he did a good job of that. And I agree with the sentiment that I don't feel like it was like, oh, he was playing bad. He couldn't have played him in the fourth quarter. It's just how the game worked out. Nance was doing great, and hopefully Nurk was okay with that since, one, we won, and two, it's good to see teammates thrive. So, still getting 14 rebounds in 18 minutes shows that he was locked in when he was in there. And I felt like he grabbed a couple of those rebounds, were really impressive rebounds. Even though he's the biggest guy on the court, he's still got a lot of them in traffic with smaller guys like trying to knock the ball out of his hands and stuff like that. So I thought he was solid tonight.
Yep, I agree. Sorry if I accidentally froze your webcam. I don't know if it did or not. Yeah, let's talk about the last guy here. I mean, it's Tony Snell time. It's time for Tony Snell, Eric. 3 assists. I mean, he came in and had a couple good defensive possessions right off the bat.
Highest plus minus.
Where's Mr. 57%er from 3, though? Where's that at?
I don't
0 for
know.
1, man. I think he's like 0 for his last 5 or something like that. Plus minus God is right. That's the biggest stat he has is a plus 11. Mm-hmm. It's Tony Snell, Eric. I don't have anything.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, with Snell, you just want to not mess up much when you're in there. And, I felt like, yeah.
Yeah, so that's it for the player cards. Let's look at the team stats. You are frozen. Why are you frozen? What is going on? There you go. You're reanimated. We have rebirthed you, Eric. You're alive again. Congratulations. Don't know why I was doing that, but go ahead.
By the way, thanks a lot, Tori. Zach just reminded me of this.
What?
Had some guy in the comments of last stream talking about how negative I am about Tony Snell. I was like, what are you talking about?
I was saying we shouldn't play him, and you're like, eh. I was more negative than, I don't know. Maybe it's people that are new and don't know who's who because we don't.
But he called out both of us or whatever. I was like, what did I say?
Who cares if we're negative about Tony freaking Snell? It's Tony Snell, man. I'm just saying he shouldn't play, and it wasn't a bad thing to Snell. We just have a lot of good players. Sorry that we have 9 players better than Tony Snell. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that was a Tony Snell burner, dude. I don't understand. I can imagine Tony Snell on his BlackBerry phone, Eric, in our comment section, like, you guys are too mean to Tony Snell. Anyway.
I literally said I have no problem with him playing. That's what you said. You didn't want him on the floor, and I said I was fine with him playing some spot minutes, but yeah.
It's not that it's not that I don't want him on the floor. I want other guys on the floor instead of him.
Yeah.
A little different context there, in my opinion. But anyway, we pissed off Tony Snell, I guess. Let's look at the team stats. We haven't looked at the team stats yet. I know we're doing this after. But 56% from the field, you like that. You like it. 44% from 3 is a really good offensive game for us.
All right.
Yeah, really good offensive game. For Toronto, they shoot 46% from 3. You don't like that. I mean, they had a ton of open threes. A lot of them came in the first half. But they only shot 46% from 2 as well. 46% from the field. So,
man, we got lucky. They missed some lay-ins in the fourth quarter.
I know, Svi missed that lay-in, and then he got absolutely cooked by CJ. That was a bad stretch for Svi, man. I don't know how he missed that. Like, and that was on the other end of the court, so I couldn't like tell necessarily what happened. Was it as open as it seemed?
It looked pretty open. Yeah.
I don't understand, man. I don't understand how he missed that. That was just, yeah, that was something. That was a really bad stretch for him. Poor Svi, man. You said he was gonna cook us, Eric. If I asked Eric on Blazers Uprise Live if he didn't tune in.
Hey, you agreed.
Oh, I did agree. Yeah. He's like Dylan Windler. You know, he's a Dylan Windler type of player, right? So I asked Eric if there's a role player that, if there's a role player that goes off against us today, who's it going to be? And Eric said Svi Mccollum, and I agreed. And he's out there missing lanes. You know, if we were in Toronto, he would have had like 25 points, but since we're in Portland, he's just gonna miss a lane.
I mean, their bench only had 12 points, so great job by our six tonight.
Yeah,
we did not allow anyone other than their starters to go off.
Yeah, I wish ESPN had bench points. It would be nice to have bench points on this graphic since we just get these stats from ESPN. Also, I did, talking about we, meaning me and Krish, since he's the one who makes this graphic, I met Krish today.
Hey.
Dude got hair, man. I was at the game with Jared, and Jared has the long hair. I'm just sitting here with whatever I got and depressed, but cool guy. So turnovers pretty even, 14 for us, 11 for Toronto. Fast break points, only 13 for us, 20 for Toronto. Points in the paint, even. I mean, none of these other numbers really stand out, other than the 7 blocks, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
To only 2 of theirs.
We had one where Rocco and Nurk blocked the same shot.
Yeah. I mean, that possession was fun. Because it's the 2 guys that are like, people were questioning their effort and whatnot, and then Rocco sleep to start the game, and then all of a sudden they wake up and Nurkic and Rocco are combining for block shots. Like, all right, guys. All right, there we go. And we need more of that. Rebounds, even. They have 12 offensive. We have 7, but overall 39 apiece. I mean, nothing really stands out here for me. What about you?
Yeah, well, I thought in the first quarter we did a terrible job of limiting their kickouts. So they were getting a lot of assists. And then they were killing us in transition as well. And then I felt like the rest of the game, we kind of limited them. And because someone like OG and Siakam had some success early, I felt like they then felt like they were hot and went one-on-one a lot. And I felt that kind of played into our game plan and kind of let us back in the game because they weren't moving the ball like they were at the beginning.
Yep. Jared just got home. How'd you just get home, Jared? He said the max is a joke past Willow Creek. I don't know what Willow Creek is. I'm a Vancouver guy, but apparently, man, I feel for you. That's rough. You've been on the max for a good. I've been streaming for an hour and a half. So you've been on the max for like at least an hour and a half. Then that's rough. And then, yeah, Krish is tall. Krish is tall. He's 14. He could pass his 20 though. And talks mature, man. He doesn't seem like a 14-year-old. He got the mask, got the long hair. Just seems like your typical Portland hippie, to be honest with you. But and actually, no, that's Jared. Jared is the Portland hippie. And the game was interesting. I have a story.
Real quick, let me answer this question.
Go ahead.
David E says, missed the game. Did Dame look healthy? I saw the box score. Yeah, Dame looked very, very healthy. He looked good tonight.
We already talked about Dame.
Yeah. I just wanted to answer that.
Yeah. It's just, it's funny how we'll do player cards and then like right after people ask us about certain players. But I know you guys might just be.
We didn't really talk about his health though.
True. But
okay, tell your story.
Yeah. Well, first, player cards. It's easy to find when we're talking about certain players. That's why I like doing the graphics, especially with the player cards, because it's easy to pick and choose what spots you want to watch if you're curious about thoughts on a certain player. But Dame looks fine. Dame looks good. He's played through this in the past, so I'm not really worried about the injury, if that makes sense. Anyway, tweets of the game, Eric. Story time. Jared says the look of sheer disappointment after dropping their phone into the abyss of the Moda Center. I wouldn't say disappointed. I was okay because I'm like, they're gonna find it. I got a tough phone case on this thing. It's one of these thick ones. So no cracks, man. It's looking good. It's looking good. A little dirty. I need to get an alcohol wipe or something. But Jared said 80% chance that it was going to be cracked. I said, nah, it's probably around 50-50 because we're sitting 100 level row F and the ground is like 2 stories and it's like hard. So it's quite a long drop. I was tweeting, man. So if you guys better follow me on Twitter since I almost destroyed my phone tweeting for you guys. So I hope you appreciate it and hit that link that's in the description.
So you really just like jumped all hype style and your phone flew out of your hands?
I was sitting and I was sitting and I literally
I heard you jumped.
Nah. Jared didn't tell the story right, man. I didn't jump. I don't know. I think I jumped, like I was excited about something, then I went down, brought out my phone to tweet it, and I literally like and there's this thin slit. It's like maybe this wide, like right in front of my feet, and I just see it like tumble and then like just perfectly down into the slit and just fall. It's just like, oh no. It was gone. So that happened with about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I was like, oh, this is a good stream story. It'll just make me go live a little bit later. I just lost my phone. Where did I drop it? Where? Okay, well, dang, it's really all the way over there. Wow, my phone goes for a journey when I drop it, I guess. But yeah, so yeah, it was rough, man. But I was like, oh, this makes it a good stream story. Just hopefully it's not cracked. I went to the like information booth or the guest services booth, and they had like 7 phones on the counter, and none of them were mine. And then like 3 other people came up and were like, yeah, my phone fell. It's like, okay, I don't feel too bad. This happens to a lot of people. And I asked the person they're running it, like, how many phones fall a game? And she was just like, you don't want to know. I'm like, okay, I'm not the only idiot in this stadium. So, that was something. That was something. That's why this stream went a little bit. I mean, I went live like right at 10, pretty much, which is what I scheduled it for. So that's pretty good. But yeah, normally, what time did the game end? How many minutes? Was it like 40 minutes after the game we went live, Eric?
It was about that, yeah.
Yeah. Because normally I could have been live like 25 minutes. Well, a little less traffic, so it wasn't as bad. But like 25 minutes. If I go to a game, I can be live in like 25 minutes. That's a success. That's good. That's good. It means I got out of the stadium. I did run to my car this time. For you guys, just looking like a weirdo just running through the night. But yeah, so good game to be at, and thankfully my phone is not completely destroyed. So that was where I was waiting, just standing there. Jared taking paparazzi pictures of me. And then only one other tweet. You guys gotta start using hashtag Blazers Uprise because I want to do this. We just forget to tweet it. We need to tweet it out every game, Eric, on the main Twitter page. I just always forget to. But the other tweet we got, CJ, Rim Protector McCollum, hashtag Blazers Uprise. We got Rocco, who's a rim protecting 4. We got Norm,
Nathan
who's
Zada.
Yeah, Nathan Zada.
Okay.
Did I not say his name?
I don't think so, but
I thought I said Nathan. I don't know, man. I don't know. Shout out to Nathan Zata for using hashtag Blazers Uprise. This is the only other tweet that used hashtag Blazers Uprise. So get your tweets in. I want to make this like a fun segment. Basically, it's just I'll include what's there at this point. But I mean, we got a rim protecting 3. Norm has had some blocks around the rim and had one today that they called a foul on, which was BS. Norm should have had another block. And CJ is a pretty good shot blocking 2. So he's a rim protecting 2. We're undersized, but we got 4 rim protectors on the court.
Chris said he put one more on there, but I don't know if you...
What's up? I looked at it when there was only 2. I only saw 2, man. Was there another good tweet that I missed?
I don't know if it used hashtag Blazers Uprise. Maybe.
Yeah, see, you gotta use hashtag Blazers Uprise for me to see it, because I just look at hashtag Blazers Uprise. If you see a tweet that's good, Eric, that doesn't use the hashtag, just send it to Krish. Because I'm down to do 5 tweets, 6 tweets, whatever. I don't know if Krish is down to make 6 graphics. This shouldn't be too hard, but he's super efficient with it.
So. He could do whatever, right?
Yeah, he got it. He legitimately, like, in the middle of the show was like, oh, I have a good outro idea. I'm going to make it right now. So we'll do it for the outro instead of, like...
you discorded it to him.
I discorded what to him?
The other one.
The other what?
You sent him a third one through Discord. He put
third tweet?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know how you don't.
Oh yeah. Okay. I thought it was for the outro thing. I was sending it to him for the outro thing, but that actually works for tweets of the game. So I will. Let's see how fast I can do this. All right, so I gotta copy that and I gotta put it there, guys. I'm a wizard behind the keyboard during stream, so I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Actually, Krish is a god. I'm a wizard. All right, so it's not there. That's unfortunate. I gotta re-upload this. Unfortunately, maybe I'm not as good as I thought.
So disappointing.
So disappointing. But I love this. Let's see if this will work now. No, I don't want to move it to the side. Here we go. We got this photo, Eric. This photo. Shout out to 503. He said, I love this photo. Two competitive dudes going at it. CJ McCollum, Gary Trent Jr. That's a great photo. I love that photo. It was funny before the game because like Dame was, where he normally lines up behind Nurkic for the tip. And Gary Trent Jr. is kind of on the side. And he and Dame just like wave at each other. Like an over, like just wave. It was funny. But that picture is phenomenal, so that's a phenomenal guy. I thought he was going to do this as part of the outro, but this works for tweets of the game. Either way, I just wanted to show you guys this photo because it's phenomenal. Just remember to use hashtag Blazers Uprise in your tweets so we can get more tweets and maybe be a little bit more selective and have quality. I know you guys come up with a lot of clever stuff, and I see you guys tweet it, and you don't use hashtag Blazers Uprise, and it's like, oh, I won't remember this on the post-game show. I won't remember to send it to Krish. So that's why you gotta use the hashtag. Also, it's free advertisement for us. Anyway.
And you get shouted out on stream.
You get a shout. You get a free shout out, man. You get a free shout out.
But yeah, Jared and Zach just tweeted hashtag Blazers Uprise. Way too late, guys.
Yeah, come on, guys. You guys know. It's time sensitive. We're already done with tweets of the game, and you're tweeting it. A little earlier next time. A little earlier, and it's usually the same people we're throwing up there. Zach said Nasir is my spirit animal, and Jared said Rip City Clothing only accepting card is a massive L. I almost bought a new hat today, Eric, but they weren't accepting cash.
Yeah, the whole Rose Garden or Moda Center is card only.
Yeah.
It's
a war on cash, man.
No, it's because of the pandemic, Dave.
Well,
since they're reopened, it's been card only.
Should just be all Bitcoin, if we're being real.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to open that can of worms. Let's hop into around the NBA. Eric, we had 11 games today. When we picked them for picks against the spread, do you have picks against the spread records for today? Do you want to share them, or do you want to wait for next episode of Blazers Surprise Live?
I have them. Thanks. Well, I have them, but Reese made them a little better in Discord. So.
Oh yeah, I can read them off. So, chat, you guys popped off today in picks against the spread. Like you guys popped off, and so did Zach. Zach popped off too. So Chat and Zach went 9-3 in picks against the spread today. I went 7-5. It's my first winning day for picks against the spread. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, this is a segment that we do on Blazers Uprise Live. That's why you should subscribe. With that link in the description, we do it Mondays, Thursdays, 3:30 p.m. Hashtag ad. I was 7-5. This is the first day I've been above 500. I'm still in last place. I'm 0-8 on double downs. Double downs is basically 2 wins or 2 losses for one game. You double down on it.
Like
and
your most confident selection each.
Yeah. And I'm 0-8. I had Phoenix, Eric. Phoenix was a 4-point favorite against Minnesota. Right? Should be able to take care of business. DeAndre Ayton is back. He can guard Cat. They got Chris Paul, Devin Booker. They've won 8 games in a row. Minnesota has been struggling. And Phoenix wins by 3. At that point, I wish they just lost the game since they lost me the spread. They win the game, and I lose my double down. So, absolutely tragic. Everybody else, Chat is 2-6 on their double downs. Chat double down with Phoenix with me. I'm sorry for screwing you over, Chat, but it's not you guys went 9-3. So, you guys would have been 11-1 had Phoenix covered.
How do you guys both go 9-3 with losing your double down?
I didn't go 9-3. I went 7-5.
Oh,
but Chat went 9-3. they went 9-2 on picks. The double down gives them an extra loss because they did not win the double down. But I went 7-5. Trevor went 7-5. Reese went 6-6, and then Krish, Eric, and Jackson went 5-7.
Back to 500.
So I gained 2 games on Jackson. I'm in last. Jackson's in first. I'm only 8 games behind Jackson. I was 10 going into today. There's Everybody else is 36 and 34, 35 and 35, or 34 and 36. It's like a jumbled mess there. Jackson's 2 games ahead of that. I am 4 games behind the next best person, but I'm turning things around. I was confident going in today. Once I want to double down, it's game over, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, let's look at the actual scores. I already talked about the Phoenix Suns game, but game number 1, you got the Kings blowing out the Pistons tonight. They were led by 25-8-8 from number 1 overall pick Cade Cunningham. Great game for him. Sadiq Bey had 28 points on 9 for 17 shooting, so their young guys looked good in this one. But they end up giving up the loss. I should have said the winners first. That stood out to me. Good game for Cade. In the win, the Kings had all 5 starters with at least 15 points, including Chemezi Metu, who started and played 32 minutes. They didn't even have injuries, so I don't understand, okay, I guess Metu is now a starter? It doesn't make sense. Marvin Bagley even played in this game. He did not refuse to check into the game this time. But 19 from Fox, 19 from Holmes. Chemezi Metu had 16, so he gets the start and looked good tonight for the Kings, who are now 6-8. In game number 2, you got the Wizards being the Pelicans, 105-100. Wizards were without Bradley Beal. They were favored by 4.5, so this was an extremely close game for the spread. Brandon Ingram was back for the Pelicans. He had 31. Spencer Dinwiddie stepped up in place of Bradley Beal, 27 points and 9 assists. The Wizards had 64 points in the second half. They were down 17 at halftime. The score was Pelicans 58, Wizards 41 at half, and the Wizards come back and take care of business. So, tough beat for some of y'all.
That one.
Yeah, tough beat, man. Tough beat. I have no sympathy, though. I've been struggling all year, unfortunately. Lots of close games with this spread. Celtics beat the Cavs 98-92. They were 4-point favorites. They win by 6. They were led by, let me find this box score, Jason Tatum with 23 and 8. Shetty Osman had 26 points in the loss. The Cavs were missing Jared Allen, Larry Markkinen, and Colin Sexton. That's 3 of their starters. You got the Cavs falling to 9-6 after this one. Celtics are at 500. Game number 4, this was an interesting game. The Knicks beat the Pacers 92-84. Very low-scoring bout. 14 points for Derrick Rose, 7 assists. Domantas Sabonis has 21 and 15 boards. The Pacers fall to 6-9. Nice. You got the Magic losing to the Atlanta Hawks, 129-111. The Hawks pulled away late to cover the 10.5-point spread, unfortunately for me. Clint Capella had 20 points, 16 boards, 3 assists. Trae Young had 23. Yes. John Collins had 23. These ads keep playing like for half a second, so there you go. Guess what ad it is. Bogdan Bogdanovic had 20, so good performances from them. The Magic had 29 from Cole Anthony, 29 off the bench from Terrence Ross. Franz Wagner had 29. Other than that, they got a lot of very poor players playing. You got like Mike Mulder getting minutes. Gary Harris offensively has fallen off a cliff. Chuma Okeke isn't there yet. Mo Wagner is not Franz Wagner. So Orlando continues to struggle. They were without Jalen Suggs. Game number 6, you got the Mavericks beating the Nuggets 111-101, a battle of Western Conference teams. After blowing us out last night, the Nuggets lose by 10 to the Mavericks in Dallas.
It came out strong in this one. Had a big lead and then blew it.
Yeah, it was a score of... They were up 9 at halftime. And then Dallas outscored Denver 32-18 in the fourth quarter. So stepped up their defense when they needed it most. The Mavericks in the win. Porzingis has 29. So good for him. Good for the shooting guard, the 7'3" shooting guard, unicorn guy from Latvia. 11 boards as well. So he was actually like being a big man this game. That's a first. 3 assists as well for Kristaps. 23 points, 11 assists, 8 boards for Luka on only 9 for 23 shooting. 17 off the bench from Jalen Brunson. For the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, 35 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists. The bench in this game was horrible for the Nuggets.
Of course it was.
Bones Highland, 2 points after having 18 on the Blazers. PJ Dozier, 5 points on 2 for 8
He looks
shooting.
like Damian Lillard yesterday and freaking Bones Highland today.
Facundo freaking Campazzo, 0 points in 9 minutes. I mean, yeah. That's just how it goes, I guess. You know, they'll go off against us and then can't do anything against Dallas, unfortunately. Let's look at Other scores, Heat beat the Thunder 103-90. The Heat were without Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler in that game. The Suns beat the Timberwolves 99-96. It just scored 2 more points, man. What's funny is, like, after this came out, I, like, because it's fantasy football season, I'm like, hopefully there's a score correction. Oh, wait. That's not a thing in real sports. That's a thing in fantasy football. So the Suns can take care of business. Devin Booker had a big game, 29 points, 5 assists. Karl-Anthony Towns had 35 in the loss.
Well, the Suns did take care of business, just not your business.
They did not. Yeah, they didn't cover the spread. It's Minnesota. It's the Minnesota freezing Timberwolves, man. Come on. All right, you got the Grizzlies 136 against the Rockets. I mean, the Rockets suck, dude. This was an 11.5 point spread for the Grizzlies, and I said if the road Trailblazers, who might be the worst road team in the league, can beat the Rockets by 12, then so can the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies beat them by 34, dropping 136. They had 31 points at least in every single quarter in this game. For the Grizzlies, we're not even going to talk about stats for the Rockets. For the Grizzlies, though, they have 22 from Morant, 18 from Jackson, 16 from Brooks, 15 from Kyle Anderson, 12 from Clark, 12 from Desmond Bane. So the usual suspects for them. Sam Merrill was 9 minutes off the bench.
People are saying Bones Highland left the game hurt. Sorry, we didn't know that.
I mean, he played 11 minutes, though, and only had 2 points. In 11 minutes against us, he had
like 50 in those first 3 minutes against us.
Yeah, exactly.
Hitting like 8 step-back threes from 85 feet.
Yeah. I think that might be a little of an under-exaggeration there.
Yeah, the Rockets, I think, are the worst team in the NBA, and it's funny that some people thought they were like a sleeper playoff team.
Who said that?
Oh, there were some people, some national people, who thought they were a possible playoff team, and while Portland was not.
I mean, well, that's just ridiculous, but they have some guys. Like Jalen Green, people expected him to be better his rookie season, right? So it was like, if he could be a 20-point per game scorer somewhat efficiently, like, that's a guy, you know? And then you got Kevin Porter Jr., and he's kind of struggled. People thought that was going to be a guy. And you got Christian Wood, of course. And then you got Kenyon Martin Jr. had a big season last year. I don't think he's playing enough right now. Like, Jayshawn Tate, solid role player. Daniel Tice, veteran center. Like, they shouldn't be as bad as they are. I don't understand why they're so bad, Eric.
Yeah, I think they're just missing, like, someone who can control everything, you know? Like, someone who can run the offense, and their defense is terrible. They can't shoot either. They don't have many shooters, so.
I mean, well, DJ Augustine is a shooter. He was 0 for 3. Daniel House Jr. can shoot, right? He's 0 for 3. Christian Wood, 1 for 4. He's a shooter, but, like, he's forgotten how to shoot the past few games. Armani Brooks is, like, all he does is shoot, and he's 0 for 3. Like, I don't understand, man. But you know who hit a 3? Usman Garuba was 1 for 1. And Kenyon Martin Jr. was 1 for 1. I don't understand this team. It doesn't make none of it makes sense. This team's giving me a headache thinking about them so much. Yeah. The Blazers beat the Raptors.
And
yay!
For those that don't know, you're welcome.
Yeah, good job, Eric. Way to sacrifice for the greater good. Appreciate it. And then the last game of the day, the Bulls beat the Lakers 121-103. DeMar DeRozan is kind of playing like a MVP candidate right now. He had 38, Eric. I wasn't like super high because I didn't think DeRozan would fit next to like Dame and CJ, but he's learned how to shoot threes. He's shooting 37% from 3 this year. And he's just been insane. I don't... He's 2 for 5 from 3 in this one. Like, he's learned how to shoot threes, and he's just been cracked. I don't... he might be in the... I don't know. He was too good, but, like, right now he's averaging 26 a game before this game. So now it's probably up to, like, 27. Like, I wish they would have, like, first and second team most improved, because he would be on second team most improved.
And that's our next opponent.
Oh, yeah, we got to figure out how to guard DeMar freaking DeRozan. And then Zach Levine, 26, and Lonzo Ball had 27 on 10 for 13 shooting, including 7 for 10 from 3, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, so he popped off too. Derrick Jones, Eric, off the bench. Derrick Jones Jr., 13 points in 16 minutes, 6 for 7 from the field, and he didn't shoot a 3. Would you imagine that?
Yeah, I saw someone I think it was Stephen Jones breaking down footage and saying, "Oh, it's amazing what you can do with Derek Jones when you don't post him up in the corner."
Yep. Because Stoss just parked him in the freaking corner, man.
As for Ernesto's comment, we should have gone after DeRozan. I mean, what, he signed for like 25, 26 million, didn't he? We had no.
And it was a sign-in trade. Like
we had no chance of doing that. We wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and we wouldn't have been able to like sign and trade for him unless. Nah, because we would be hard capped and it would have been close. Yeah. It was not. I don't know. Like he wouldn't help our defense. You know what I mean? So. I don't know if he's been defending well this year, but overall he's been a poor defender throughout his career. So,
and they have guys like Lonzo and Caruso and good defenders. That
Vucevic had been a good defender this year. Tony Bradley's now starting. He's a solid defender. Derek Jones Jr. off the bench. Yeah, Ayos Dosunmu's been playing for them. We will preview this. We won't preview this game. We play this next game the 17th, right?
Yeah, it's Wednesday night. Yep.
Yeah, we can preview this game after this. Let's look at some big-time performances. 2 Chicago Bulls there. Jokic, Karl-Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis. You got 3 big men there having big games. And then DeMar DeRozan, of course, continues his stellar play. I mean, if DeRozan averages like 27 and 5 for the entire season, the Bulls are a top 2 seed. He might be a top 5 MVP candidate, especially with like James Harden is struggling and Dame is struggling, and like LeBron, if he misses more time, probably isn't going to be up there. The Lakers are at 8-7, so they probably won't have a good enough record. Like he is a sleeper candidate right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Western Conference standings. 7-8 are the Blazers, still in 9th place, but they gained some ground.
Around 500.
Yeah, they gained some ground on the Lakers, which is good to see. They gained some ground on Denver. Yeah, we need to be up with the teams above us, not kind of only half a game ahead of Sacramento and a game ahead of OKC. But, we'll look at the next 5 games. Portland, we kind of set the stage last post-game stream for this road ahead. They have a homestand, and they've been good at home, so got to take care of business. They did that tonight. Anything else stand out here?
No, but along those lines, this was a tough game tonight, knowing that we just got back from a road trip, didn't even have a day off, and had to play a back-to-back after 4 games on the road. So I think getting this one tonight could set the stage for a very nice homestand.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's look at the Eastern Conference standings. Washington's still number 1. They get the win. They barely beat the Pelicans, but without Bradley Beal, What is Washington, Eric?
I don't know.
Neither do I. That's why I asked you. I guess that was a rhetorical question. I don't know. Let me see who they beat. Honestly, let me just dive deep on Washington here.
Well, they beat the Pelicans.
Yeah, they beat
I think they might have had the Pelicans twice. Maybe?
Okay, here are their wins: Toronto, Indiana, Boston, Atlanta, Boston again, Memphis, a banged-up Milwaukee team, Cleveland, Orlando, and New Orleans.
That's not that bad.
What do you mean that's not that bad? That's about as, if you're sitting at 10-3, that's about as poor of a 10-win slate as you could probably find, I think. I mean, what good teams have they placed? Milwaukee, with how banged up they've been, hasn't been a good team. The best team they've beaten is Cleveland.
That's a good one.
I mean, let's see. Milwaukee's under 500. Orlando's under 500. New Orleans is under 500. Boston is at 500. Toronto is under 500. So is Indiana. Memphis is, 8-7. So they beat 2 teams that are above 500. And it's Memphis and Cleveland. I don't know. I think they're fluky, man. I don't think they're going to be top 14.
I mean, they're not 10-3 good, but I don't think they're terrible either.
They've had an easy schedule. Here's the thing: they got Charlotte up next, then they face Milwaukee. What is this? What am I looking at? What is this schedule?
I don't know. What are you doing?
They play Charlotte, then they play Miami twice, and then they play. No, okay, so they played New Orleans tonight, Eric. Then they play Charlotte. Then they play Miami twice. Then they play Charlotte. Then they play New Orleans. That's what I'm looking at. What is this schedule? So they might have the hardest like second half schedule in the entire league because I'm looking at it and it is absolutely brutal. So they could continue this hot play, but they're gonna struggle later on in the season just by having a harder schedule. It's still bunched up here. I mean, 13 teams are within 5 games, and the teams at 11, 12, and 13 are Milwaukee, Atlanta, and Indiana. Milwaukee and Atlanta, of course, is better than Indiana, but Indiana's starting to play well. So it's a 13-team race right now.
Yep.
Alrighty. Let's look at the next 5 games. So 2 more games on this homestand. Oh, that bottom game is scary. That bottom game is gross. So, yeah, you got Chicago, Philadelphia, Denver, Sacramento, Golden State. We said they need to go at least 3-1 on this homestand. That was kind of our goal.
Well, they don't have to go 3-1.
They don't have to.
To get back to 500, that'd be nice. Yeah.
I mean, they're 1-0. So win 2 of the next 3 games. I think that's doable. Chicago's without Vucevic and Patrick Williams. So they've played well without him. They're fine, but it's still a team that I think that's a 50-50 game going in. Philadelphia, are they still without Embiid?
The 10 days is up on the 18th, so I don't know. That'll either be his first game back or he'll still be out.
Yeah, and then you got Denver. So I think win 2 of the next 3 games, and then hope you beat Sacramento.
This is why this next game is very important. If we can somehow beat the Bulls, then we have a full 2 days to kind of lock in some of the things that have been going wrong. You've got 2 full days to practice and maybe implement some new plays or wrinkles. Get maybe your defense to be a little more aggressive. So this next game, if you can just find a way to beat the Bulls, which is going to be a tough game, but we're at home, so anything can happen. Then you only have 1 game the next 5 days. So the first kind of break in the schedule in terms of not playing a lot of games in the short amount of time. But then you have, after those 5 days, home and road back to back, and then you have 1 day off and have another road game. So I think this next game is really important. If we can get this one, I think we'd have a lot of positive momentum, and I'd feel really comfortable with a lot of the games left on that 5-game stretch. If we lose on Wednesday, then it might be back to hopefully we can just claw back to 500 at some point in the near future.
Yep, agreed with that. I don't know why it reverted to the game scores, but I don't know. I don't even want to look at that Golden State game, but these were 15 games in? The first 20 games are hard. Let me just look at the schedule after that. Let me just read it off for you guys, because that's where things get easy. We just got to make sure to win some of these games, all right? We want to be 500 coming out of this. Right now we're a game below 500, so go 3-2. Go 3-2 the next 5 games. That is absolutely the goal for Portland, because you come out of that at 10-10,
Yep.
right? And then the last 2 games of November is... And the next game after Golden State is easy. It's Utah on the road. But then we come home, second half of a back-to-back on November 30th. We play the Pistons, right? So we win 3 of the next 2, and then maybe lose against the Jazz, beat the Pistons. We're at 11-11. And I said if the team is 12-10 after November, they're on pace to win 50 games, just based on how hard the teams are that they're playing and how easy the rest of their schedule is. So, we're fine if we're 11-11 or 12-10. So, go 3-2, get back to 500. Then you got Utah on the road and the Pistons at home. You should be 500 after this, after the month of November. Because here's the thing: in December,
it gets really easy.
Spurs at home, Celtics at home, Clippers at home, Warriors on the road, Timberwolves at home, Suns at home, Grizzlies at home, Hornets at home, Grizzlies on the road, Pelicans on the road, Nets at home, Mavericks at home, Jazz at home, Lakers on the road. So a lot of home games in there. You get games against the Timberwolves, Celtics, Spurs, Grizzlies, Hornets at home, Grizzlies on the road, Pelicans. there's a few tough teams in there. You know, you got Brooklyn at home. You got the Lakers on the road. I mean, the Lakers have been kind of but you got Utah at home, Dallas, Phoenix, Golden State on the road. Like, but it's one of our easier months of the season. I think we can make some ground, especially given how well we've played at home. And then it kind of gets road heavy later on in the season. Hopefully we've figured things out there because our opponents get easier. We just play a lot of road games. So we'll have like Orlando and you know, I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead, but it does get easier later on in the season. So you got to take care of business. I think these last three home games are crucial, especially that Chicago one for the reasons that you said. Win 2 of these next 3 at home, and I think you're fine. And then you go on the road. That's the thing, is I want some momentum. Like, have some momentum going into Sacramento. They've struggled on the road. Just have some momentum. Especially if they can beat Denver the night before and kind of get a confidence boost and then go on the road second half back to Sacramento. It's not like they have to travel far, and it's still a 7 p.m. game. It's about as ideal for road conditions as you could find is playing in Sacramento. Try and take care of business. And then that Golden State game, we're going into that like, probably not going to win. But if we win that game, that's a great momentum confidence booster. Like, that's a great opportunity. So, and you best believe, like, the Blazers are not going to take the Warriors lightly. They just have to figure out how to come out with energy on the road. That's where they're at.
Yeah.
So, anything else for this game, Eric?
No, just I thought it was a good bounce back win. Like I said, kind of tough circumstance coming back from the road trip and getting the W. Especially after the start they had in this game. It's kind of nice to see them pull it out.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who donated tonight. Jakob, Dizzy D, Rip City 208, Greg Hughes, and Clearly a Bot. Your guys' donations help keep this showing. Keep this show. Keep this go. I said go showing. Keep this show going.
Keep the go showing.
Yeah, at least with the graphics, you know, because we do gotta take care of Chris for helping us out and everything that he does. So your donations help with that, and I greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, you know, there's also a channel membership option. I will be trying my best to figure out how to download my editing software so I can drop a film breakdown tomorrow. And I want to get out the intro animation as a desktop screensaver, both as a still image as well as maybe an animated image as well for you guys to put as your desktop screensavers for channel members. That will be exclusive for channel members. So that's a way to support us and get something back. We'll also be planning we need to plan our watch party for one of those games, one of the next 7 games for November, Eric. So we'll release that. We'll have a watch party for channel members only. And yeah, that's what we got on tap. So that's a great way to support us by clicking that join button. It's right below the video. You can't miss it. Shout Greg Hughes, rounding things off with a $5 dono. He says, yeah, everyone sending super chats. Takes a lot of work to do these shows. Appreciate you, Gray. You're super supportive. And I like I can't read every message in chat, so a lot of times your guys' donation messages, we always read off every donation. It contributes to the conversation, and that's always fun to be able to kind of weave in those donation messages into what we're talking about. So appreciate it. Shout Shy Guy for the $2 dono. He says, everyone send. I'm going to wrap up this stream before you guys can send too much. Alex, I don't know who your son is, but you can donate to your son, whoever that is. Pretend you are a typicist. Yeah, I feel like a sellout right now all of a sudden. So I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Anything else you want to say, Eric?
Thank you to everyone who watched, and I hope you all have a good night, and we can all enjoy another Blazers victory on Wednesday, hopefully.
Yeah, winning games is fun. Let's try doing more of it. So shout out Hyper Prime for $2 postgame show. He says the best postgame show. Flex emoji and 100 emoji. Appreciate it, Hyper Prime. Appreciate you guys. With that being said, we are out of here. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night. We will catch you again on Wednesday with the Chicago Bulls post-game show. Hopefully we're talking about another Blazer home win. Until then, have a good rest of your night and have a good Tuesday. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.